I have literally just forgotten how to do this. On this episode 105 of the podcast, I'm going to talk about my hat, which is over there, swooning, and also my name. Yeah, so let's get into it, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode, another edition of the Luke Who's Talking podcast with me, Luke. How you going out there? Hope you're doing all right. Now, I didn't have an episode last time the other week because of some reason. I feel like I was going to talk about what that reason was, or briefly cover it on this episode, but I can't even remember. So, hey, here we are, everybody. Welcome back. Surprisingly, not much has actually happened. Or maybe plenty has happened. I just haven't taken any notes of it. Anyway, let's get into the first little story, the first anecdote for you. Now, a week or two ago, just however long ago, I was at a friend's place because they were having a party, having a little bit of a party at their joint. Anyway, that's fine, great, superb. And when I was leaving, you sort of, this is just in general thing. Yeah, I'm sure everybody has done this. I would have to assume when you're leaving somebody's place, you're looking at and you're covering what you're sort of making sure you have everything. So do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have this? Especially if you go and you take booze, you always make sure, do I have all of my alcohol? Do I have it all? Yeah, I do. Or no, I don't. Or, whatever. That was fine. So I went over the process of, do I have all my stuff? At the time, I was like, yeah, I left. And then the next day, a friend put a picture of themselves wearing my hat in the group, the friend chat. And I thought, that is a slight thing. I've left my hat behind. So then I got into this whole thing about how am I going to get the hat back? You have to contact a friend. You then have to negotiate a time with them as to, when they can get there, as to when they'll be home. You then have to make sure if you can, if that sort of lines up with your regime. Wow, I've got so many apps. Apps always need to be updated. I'm updating apps on the phone. But so you get into, when are you going to be free? When are they going to be free? Do any times line up? Can you suggest a time, to get your hat back or whatever it is? My case, it was a hat. And it was just, I was like, wow, it was an absolute situation. I think it was about a week or so the hat stayed at the house for. But, yeah, I was like, it's just a hat. But it's not just a hat. It's my hat. And my hat wasn't a cheap hat. So you go, it's just, I thought, wow. It's not like when you go to school, right? You know that, somebody's not going to be there between these hours for sure. And, after school, they're most likely going to be home. So you can go and get your hat. But in this context, I was like, hey, when do you work until? I'll finish at this time. Okay. Can I get there at that time or around that time? Are you going out? If it's near a weekend, so it's a Thursday or Friday coming into Saturday. Hey, are you going on a date with your boyfriend or, you're going to be home or you're going to be social? When can I get my hat? And it was a real situation. I made it bigger than what it was, much like the next subject. But anyway, look, I got my hat and it was fine. I've got my hat back and I'm happy about that. But the build up to getting the hat, to organising when can I get my hat back. Wow. Yeah. Anyway, I can't believe I've talked for nearly 5 minutes about getting a hat. Or, yeah. Anyway, everybody, let's get into the next anecdote. Wow. So everybody, I'm not sure if I've talked about this in the past, but I want to talk about briefly my, can I say love life? My life of lust, yearns, whatever else. Now, a few years ago, probably once a year for like, I'd say probably 2 or 3 years, maybe. I had I would have a yearn. I would around sort of this time of year. So late October, November, December. And my friend labelled it as the Christmas crush. And I would say I've not had one for probably about 3 to 4 years. So there has been a Christmas crush drought. However, a couple of weeks ago, I was out with my cycling buddies, and somebody new was there, and they were quite lovely, a very affable, and gorgeous young woman. And I was like, wow, the Christmas crush is back. So I could say I have a Christmas crush for 2022. I have a Christmas crush for 2022. Now, I was talking about, I've told various people about this, because I was sort of yearning a bit, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and they're a bit older. I'm not actually sure how old they are, but they were like, "Oh, you're old like me." So I would have to assume, to me, they're probably mid-40s. Okay. Anyway, but their opinion was like, "Oh, you got to do something. You don't want to be old like me. Oh, make a move. Oh, and all this sort of stuff." And I was like, "Well, I don't know when I'm going to see this person again, or if I ever sort of am going to see this person again." They are single. I know that much. Well, at least at the time, right? And so I'm like, you got to do something. Oh, make it. It's like there's an episode of The Nanny where Mr. Sheffield is like musing about Miss Fine, and Niall says to him, "Oh, can I speak frankly, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, old boy." And he grabs him and like shakes him, and he's like, "Make a move." So it was like a bit like that, except, well, less extreme, right? But so I'm like, "Make a move, do something, come on." So I mean, so I was like, hey, if I ever see them again, I might make a discreet inquiry, but that's sort of about as far as I guess I can go, really. But I'm like, wow, they're I have to say they're a solid 8 minimum. I'm gonna say that on the hey, look, it's only been one encounter, and this is I'm just I don't obsess over people or anything, but anyway, wow, what a do you have a yearn? Do you have a maybe it's your husband or your wife or something, if you're out there, you're listening and you're married, or maybe somebody you met like at a shop, and you've just had like an encounter with somebody and you're like, wow, they're pretty great. I would I wonder if they would like to get some Thai, or something at some point. Anyway, everybody. I don't I can get the yearns hard. It's not great. Anyway, everybody, let's go to the next. This was a bizarre encounter I had with somebody. Well, bizarre, yeah, unexpected for sure. Let's get into that. So recently, I was talking to somebody whose name, well, may as well say it, is Dennis, and I was like, wow. We were talking, and they were like, oh yeah, but they had their son, same name as me. Son's name Luke. And I was like, cool, superb, great. And they were like, and they died of pneumonia. And I thought, what? That is, I was just, wow. Completely, like, what do you say to that? What do you say? It's like, oh, so my son, same name as you, and they're dead. What do you do? Like, what do you say? It was a bizarre encounter. Totally wild. I was absolutely, what do you say to that? If you're out there listening and you're like, oh yeah, I had a little girl, her name was Heather, and she died. What do you say to that? See, it's like bizarre. And why would you say that? Why? Think about it. If you're like, oh yeah, I've got my daughter, Bethany, it's the same name as you. She's dead because she got pneumonia. Why would you say that to anybody? See, oh wow, I was completely just like bamboozled. Completely bamboozled. What do you do? What do you say to it was a wild encounter. Crazy. Just, yep. And so they were like, oh yeah, so my son, his name was Luke, and he was, when he was like 40 or something, he died of got pneumonia and died. And I just thought, wow, that is bizarre. Like, why? I mean, I guess I get the name association, but you don't have to then continue that and say, oh yeah, so my son, same name as you, but he's dead. Just, yep. Ah, wow. Crazy, I thought. Absolutely crazy. Unexpected, wild. Just, yep. Wow. Anyway, let's start to wrap things up. What a roller coaster of an episode this has been. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening. Crazy. Thanks for watching. If you watch over on YouTube, you can email me at lukewhostalkingpod@gmail.com or on Twitter at @L_whom is talking. It's actually just Luke it's at @L_who's talking. There we go. Yeah, I'm still reeling from that last anecdote. Bizarre. Anyway, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you've watched, please, I'm going to start saying this, I think. Please share the podcast and subscribe. Why would you be listening if you're not subscribed? I don't listen to any podcasts, so I'm not subscribed to, so that's an interesting thing. But anyway, it's not YouTube. Well, this is going to be on YouTube, but whatever. Hey, share the podcast with a friend or with somebody you hate. And I'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Thank you. Bye.